Hi guys, so this week's loadout will be mental. As you can see, I already have a pre-prepared character. Let's delve in first on mental for the controller role, because it's a little bit more simple. Controller role will be simple to show because the rotation is really direct. Unlike other controllers, it's a simple rotation of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then repeat until you need the supercharge. The supercharge will be a shield that restores power to all group members. So, for now, let's start with, let's see here, on the loadout. So, first we'll go to Psychic Empowerment, which restores power to fatigued members of your group. Also, it increases weapon attack damage for you and 3 other members of your party, with the highest power percentage for a very short time. Psychic Shock will reduce your enemy's defenses and stuns enemies, so it's a debuff power. Phantom Flames reduces the target's damage output and stuns the enemies, so another debuff. I started with the defense debuff, then I moved to the damage debuff, and now the health debuff is the Pyrokinesis. It reduces the target ability to heal and of course stuns the enemy. The following power is Grandeur. Fills nearby enemies with awe, preventing incoming damage and protecting yourself against control effects for a short time. Basically, this makes your enemies forget about you and focus on the tank once more. This is because controllers will have to have a very high dominance number because of the debuffs. The higher the number of dominance, the more effective these debuffs will be. This basically removes all attention from you, protects you from controlling effects, and lets the enemies focus on the tank once more. The supercharge is of course Bastion, which will generate a shield and protect the group members. Also will restore power over time to everyone in your on your party. Some people use here, instead of Grandeur, they use Invisibility. This will make a stealth move which opens another tree of powers. This is completely unnecessary in terms of mental, because you have a Grandeur which doesn't confuse you, doesn't generate another tree of powers that you have to pick and choose from, and doesn't let you basically spend useless power while you are giving power to your group power, because the controller's role is basic: give power, debuff the enemies, that's it. Okay, so that was it for the controller. Let me do the entire rotation. First this one, debuff, 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 forget about it, and finally the supercharge. As you can see, it generates the shield, protecting you and your party and generating power over time. As you can see on the sparring target, defense debuff, attack debuff, healing debuff. Everything you can do very far apart from your enemy. I also recommend either using the bow or Hand Blaster as your power on mental. Another good power to fill the supercharge is, of course with the full rotation, is martial arts. So for now, this was the power and the loadout of mental. I'm not going to delve in too much with the artifacts because with the amount of artifacts that you have right now at your disposal on the John Constantine vendor, basically adapt the artifacts to your particular needs. I'm not going to recommend any type of artifacts because I think everyone should be free to pick and choose what they think will be good for them in terms of debuffs. Okay, guys? So that's it for controller. Let's try DPS. DPS is a little bit more complex than the other powers that I've given the loadout in the past weeks. So let's start with this. The loadout is, as I said, a little bit more complex because it's going to demand you using invisibility. As with gadgets, this power is a lot more complete with stealth, which generates a secondary tree of powers that you can use. Okay, so let's start the rotation with mass levitation, terror tendrils, telekinetic pull, and psychic shock. You can complete the rotation with cryokinesis. Let's try this rotation. This. As you can see, you can do all these powers from afar. Now, when you complete this rotation, I would recommend you activating stealth. As you can see, this generates a secondary tree of powers. Mind you that every power that you launch can remove stealth. Okay, I recommend you using stealth when the enemy is right on top of you. It will make you forget. It will make the enemy forget that you were there. As you can see, the first power will not break stealth. Second power will. Third power will. Fourth power will as well. This power will break contact as well. It's a protection shield. Ideal if your life is really low. Just activate your stealth, generate the shield, and you're done. I would recommend you using stealth when you want to do an extra damage attack with this. As you can see, doesn't break stealth. You can launch whatever you want. The numbers will be very high coming out of your target. Of course, this is a secondary tune that I have. The numbers are low in this case because I don't have a lot of armor on this tune. Of course, you will complete the rotation of stealth, as you can see here. While in stealth, you have a lot of powers that you can use. I would recommend you using ambush sleep. This will force your target to sleep, damaging and stunning him. Of course, enemies that are already dazed will take considerably more damage. In order for you to figure out which powers break the stealth, all you have to do is look at the name of the power. Ambush sleep. Every power that has ambush on it will not break stealth. So let's try and figure out another power that you can use. Pain Blast. Inflicts sudden psychic damage on your target, knocking it down. Let's replace one of our powers with this one. And that's it. All of the other powers break stealth. Okay? Only these two powers, Sleep and Pain Blast, will not break stealth. Let me show you. This is Sleep. And this is actually this one. You have to be really close to your enemy, and this is a little bit odd in terms of the super attack of stealth. This one actually breaks stealth, as you can see. But the number that you extract from that attack is very high. I recommend you not using this attack. Just pick and choose any other attack that you can range attack with and stick with that. At any rate, it will break the stealth regardless. The only one that won't break is sleep. For the supercharge, I recommend you launching the supercharge while in stealth mode, because it augments the damage even more. Mass Hysteria is my choice. Of course, you have a secondary power, supercharge that you can use. Sorry about this noise. The Bolt Barrage. The Bolt Barrage is very easy to use. Basically, you generate a full barrage of power directed at your enemy. Now, Mass Hysteria will generate a phantasm form and apparitions near you, which means you generate your own ads, so they fight for you. All the powers that you launch are a little bit augmented, so be prepared for that. For controller, of course, I recommend you spending all of your skill points. As you can see, I have very little skill points on this character, but I've tested this loadout on a different character that I have, which has circa 400 skill points. So start with this tree and complete it, and follow this. Focus on the first one, then critical power chance, critical power magnitude. Then instead of going to the last one, which is dominance, I recommend you vitalization all the way, 275 skill points, and then focus on dominance. Okay, this will augment your as I said, your debuffs tremendously. Also, for the skill points assigned to stat points, I recommend you start on DPS. Start with super powered, because it will give you 10% of power, 10% of power regeneration, and 10% of might. Okay, something that will not happen with weapons expert. You can also focus on hybrid, but I don't recommend this anyway. This is very important, power regeneration and the power value for the controller. Of course, you have hybrid on controller that you can also use, but it offers you a stat that you don't use, restoration. Of course, it offers you 10% more of vitalization that you can easily ignore for now. Basically, then start with superpowered, critical attack chance, critical attack damage, then skip precision. Precision is for PvP. And go for might and power, so you can focus on your attacks, weapon attacks, and might. Might will augment your powers significantly. So this is the the DPS and controller loadouts that I have to offer to you guys today. I hope you enjoy. If you have any comments and further loadouts, please leave on the comments below. I will test it out on my main tune, or on this character that I'm going to level up a little bit more in order to test out potential new loadouts. So guys, I'll see you next week with another loadout. I'll do one per week. I've already did munitions sorcery, ice, atomic, and now I just did mental. Next week, quantum, another controller, but it's a kind of different controller that I will show you. Okay, see you next week. Play on, stay safe, and of course, buy the games and have fun.